Talking Keegan Murray and whether or not you're as confused as I am as to what to do with Keegan and if you're worried about his development at all. Not defensively, of course, but offensively. Because he does show flashes. He shows crazy flashes from time to time. By the way, speaking of crazy flashes, Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show drew 133.5 million viewers, topping Michael Jackson's longtime record as the most watched ever. Now, obviously, it was not everyone's cup of tea. I gave it a B yesterday, also understanding that it was when you have a floating grade in school where, it's not a final grade yet. And I felt like it was the only way to look at Kendrick Lamar because there's so many hidden meanings and, you go on social media and you see 5-10 different things that you missed. So after seeing everything, I am willing to bump it up to a B+. Okay, me personally, it just depends on what you want out of a Super Bowl halftime performance. I think for what Kendrick is and what he does, he nailed it, right? Is that going to be everybody's cup of tea? No. But after further review, after seeing more hidden, and again, maybe some people don't feel like dealing with that. They just want to watch Usher or whoever play the hits that you hear at weddings and dance, right? That's how some people view it. After further review, I'm willing to bump it up to a B+. And passing now, again, does it feel comfortable that it passed Michael Jackson's longtime record? I don't know, because you and that's a little bit of old school Allen coming out here with Michael Jackson and what he did. So does that feel right? I guess times are a-changing and how they measure this stuff is a little bit different as well. So who knows? That's why, Drake's got all these crazy records too because of streaming. So does it feel right? I don't know. But did Kendrick do a really good job for what Kendrick does? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I was in the camp of saying that was an A performance, but I think the reason that this Super Bowl halftime show was so unique and why you can't even compare it to the Michael Jackson one is this existed out. Usually the Super Bowl, like the Katy Perry Left Shark thing, usually the Super Bowl halftime show creates the pop culture moments afterwards. What Kendrick had the advantage of was everyone was flocking to it before it happened because one, Kendrick Lamar is probably the most famous music artist in the world right now, and usually the Super Bowl doesn't get that. I said yesterday, it's like him and The Weeknd are the only ones I can think of where they're at the top of their game and, a multi-platinum artist or whatever. And number two, the Drake stuff. Like, everyone was flocking to be like, what is he going to do to make fun of Drake? So I think that's probably why it set the record, because normally everyone reacts to the halftime show afterwards. This one had the anticipation of, oh, what is he going to do? Is he going to play Not Like Us? Is he going to not play Not Like Us? Is he going to do this or that or whatever? And is he going to play the hits? Is he just going to do all this album? And
right.
I think that's what Kendrick had working to his advantage before, was that the Super Bowl halftime show was reacting around the pop culture moment of it all.
And the Serena Williams thing, with some people saying it was, hey, why are you so worried about your ex with Drake? Or is it a cool look and a full circle moment because of Serena, kind of sea walking at the Olympics and how a lot of people look down on that. So again, this thing is, and maybe it's not even a final grade yet. I don't know. Maybe it's final for me right now as a B+, and it can change again because there's going to be 10 more things that I probably missed when I go back on social media today. I don't know, but Kendrick Lamar is surpassing Michael Jackson as the most viewed Super Bowl performance ever. Hey, good for him, and that is how you kind of tie a bow on a beef. As we get back to everything that the Sacramento Kings have been up to, and there hasn't been a lot of there's been beef on the court with Valanciunas and Sabonis. Here's another one. Big borders, bearded borders. All right. I can't even read that last one, 916. You know I can't read that. And we're getting into Malik Monk. Cam Johnson, 916, asked if Cam Johnson were on the Kings, would he be a starter? And if so, who would go to the bench? I think that was a question. You know, I think that they really wanted Cam Johnson, 916, but I wish we could live in that alternate reality where we see what happens there, because I do think there's a world where Keegan comes off the bench. It's probably Cam Johnson, but I was really interested to see Keegan needs help, just to see, you know, kind of like with the Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jaden McDaniels out there in Minnesota, how they would have played that. And maybe we'll still find out in the offseason, but we are not going to find out before this season ends. So Malik Monk and what he has done at the point guard position. February 3rd in Minnesota, 26 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. February 5th in Orlando, 10 points, 0 rebounds, 3 assists. February 6th, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. February 8th, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. February 10th, 17 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists. So Malik again, and he's been kind of struggling from 3-point range. February 3rd, he was 2 for 6. After that, 1 for 4. After that, 2 for 6. After that, 2 for 8. After that, 0 for 4. So I do think we're starting to see how this is going to affect Malik, being that there's so much Malik, right? Before, he could pick his spots. Okay, it's Malik. He actually could pick his spots in different ways. First, it was picking his spots because he came in as a relief pitcher, if you will, coming in off the bench. I'm just going to go, you know what, to the wall, and that's all I need to do. It's just pedal to the metal. Then he became a starter, but, you know, you still had De'Aaron Fox when De'Aaron felt like, you know, being engaged. So some nights Malik still kind of set the tone, but it was still, hey, De'Aaron, when do you want to go? Or, hey, DeMar DeRozan, when do you want to go? Now it's a lot of Malik Monk. You have one less ball handler, adding Zach LaVine and losing De'Aaron Fox. So it's a lot of Malik, and I think the most obvious place we're seeing this, and I don't know if it's a in the legs thing, but I do wonder with how much Malik is playing and how hard he plays, is that affecting his 3-point shooting? Because he's doing so much, and I'd have to examine how all the threes miss, but it does. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Malik Monk's 3-point shooting dipping is connected to just his usage going way up.
Well, so here's an interesting phenomenon on that. So Malik Monk in these 5 games is shooting 25% from the 3-point line. Mm-hmm. Before De'Aaron got traded. So basically, I grabbed the stats to compare from when Malik went into the starting lineup, which was December 1st, all the way until Fox got traded, which was February 1st. During that stretch, he was shooting 32% from the 3-point line. So he's down 7%. Mm-hmm. However, and I was surprised by this, during those 2 months of December and January, he was taking 7.7 3-pointers per game. Mm-hmm. These last 5 games, he's only taking 5.6 3-pointers per game. So his shooting is down, but he's taking 2 less 3-pointers per game. Mm-hmm. Now, you would think, okay, that makes sense. His shooting goes down because he's now primary ball handler, distributor, things like that. Well, in this small sample size, his shots per game have actually gone up. He's shooting 17 shots a game as the starting point guard, 16 shots a game when he was the starting 2 guard. And obviously Fox was out for a few games, so he moved into the point guard for that.
Right.
But he's taking more shots per game by a little bit right now, shooting 40% from the field compared to 44%. So he's taking more 2s per game, almost about 3 more per game, and he's shooting a higher percentage from 2 than he was before, which I would not have guessed watching the Kings game. Not only that he's taking less 3-pointers than when he was the 2 guard, but he's also taking more 2s and making 2s at a higher percentage than he was before.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know what to do with any of that right now, but as far as Malik Monk and turning the ball over, it's just going to be a different experience, right? The two-man game, and he hasn't even necessarily learned how to work the two-man game with Valanciunas. I think that's going to be, we talk about counterpunches and how the two-man game was normally a counterpunch in this offense and how it looks a little bit different with it being one of the main points of the offense now. So now you get Valanciunas in there who gives you just a different look than Domantas Sabonis. In some ways, he has better touch than Domantas Sabonis with those push shots and things like that. So Domantas Sabonis normally has to get all the way to the rim. Valanciunas doesn't have to do that. So I think there's still another layer of this offense that's going to come out. And again, we're just waiting and trying to figure out how long is it going to take in order for that to happen. As we discuss Malik Monk as a ball handler, let's talk about another stat that proves Keon Ellis is still somehow underrated. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's game?